unions. And I'm a special education teacher at Edna Brewer Middle School in Oakland. I and the parents and students, teachers here are calling on OUSD to stop its school reopening plan. The plan's reckless and risks the lives not only of teachers and students, but of the families. Students, youth, young people are able to catch the virus, to catch COVID, to spread COVID, to become sick from COVID. They're 100% unvaccinated at this point. It's not safe to reopen schools before students have a vaccine. We need everyone vaccinated before bringing together groups of people. Right now, young people are the last group that should be brought together. The OUSD plan to reopen in-person schools in the city, beginning with for some students in a few days, and then increasingly after April 19th, should be reversed, needs to be stopped. It does not take into account the new variants that are spreading through the country, through the state. Right now, the UK variant and the California variant are both spreading rapidly, and the UK variant, I believe, is the majority of COVID cases now. That variant, the UK variant, started in England. It was found first in children, and now children are considered the major source of transmission, not only to other children, but to adults and the community. The CDC guidelines don't take into account this change in the pandemic. The coronavirus is of last year, of 2021, is not the same coronavirus of this year. We're having mutations, and those mutations, the ones that survive, the variants that survive are the ones that are most effective at spreading, that can get around the vaccine. If we open schools, it's a recipe to make them into petri dishes for the development of yet more dangerous variants. We cannot allow that. I call on the OUSD administration to approve health accommodations for any teachers who are coming back to school. Those accommodated for underlying health conditions. We have to be defending the lives of everyone. I am not going back into a classroom. I have an underlying health condition, and I think my first duty as a teacher is to keep students safe. That's the first role I have, is to keep students safe so they can become everything that they can be, so they can live up to their dreams, so they're alive to do that, so their family is alive, so they don't bear the burden of having been the person who brought the COVID virus home and their grandmother ended up dying. That cannot be recovered from. So we have other speakers, as I say, and I want to move on to them, but we have to keep distance learning. Let's keep everyone safe. Call on parents. Don't leave distance learning. Keep your children at home. So I am now Jose, I believe, is going to speak next from BAM.
Hello, can people hear me?
Yes.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es José. Soy un miembro de BAM, de la comunidad aquí en Oakland. También soy un trabajador de rastreo de contactos de COVID para el condado de Alameda. Y hoy quiero hacer claro y unirme al mensaje de EON BAM y los maestros, padres y estudiantes que estamos haciendo un llamado hoy para que el distrito escolar no reabra las escuelas. porque esto no solamente, como dijo Mark, es problemático por el simple hecho de que todavía no existe una vacuna para los jóvenes y estudiantes, pero también porque las nuevas cepas, las nuevas variantes del virus ya están dominando la mayoría del país y aquí en California también. En estados como Nevada, más del 40% de las nuevas infecciones son las variantes de California y del Reino Unido. Ese mismo trayecto va a suceder aquí en el estado de California, donde las variantes se van a convertir las dominantes en el estado y vamos a empezar a ver los números incrementar. También es importante decir algo de que no se está hablando, es el simple hecho de que la mayoría de los familiares que van a ser afectados, afroamericanos y latinos que viven en el área de Oakland, también van a sufrir no solamente peligrar sus vidas con el virus, pero también la reapertura de las escuelas en personas va a causar que la mayoría de padres que están recibiendo ayuda de desempleo por parte de la pandemia van a perder esa ayuda económica, que esas es la poca ayuda que ahorita los familiares tienen para poder mantener a sus familias comiendo, viviendo en sus casas y manteniendo seguras a su familia. Es importante que tomemos acción, no solamente los maestros, pero también en la comunidad. Les queremos dejar saber a los padres, no manden a sus hijos a las escuelas, no es seguro, hay que tomar la mejor decisión, a mantener el instinto que han tenido los padres, que han mantenido a sus niños en las escuelas y esperar hasta que haya una vacuna. So I just want to say my name is Jose and I'm also a member of BAM. And I want to make it clear and echo the message that has been said that we are opposing the reopening of schools here in Oakland School District, not just because it will be a disaster for our communities here and increase the numbers of infections and deaths in our communities and predominantly Black and Latino neighborhoods that have been most affected by this community. Is not just because also there isn't a vaccine for students and the majority of parents have not been vaccinated yet, but also, you know, we want to make it clear as well that those variants are taking over that, you know, like Mark mentioned, are more infectious, are more deadly. In Nevada, our neighboring state, over 40% of the new infections now in the state of Nevada are the California or UK variant. Those numbers are going to continue to increase. That's going to be the case here in California. We are coming up on spring break. Those numbers are going to go up. And I also want to make it clear that it's not just the threat to the lives of the family that are going to be, you know, that it's something that the district is not taking into account with this dangerous reopening, but also the fact that the majority of parents, Black and Latino, who have been receiving pandemic assistance, economic assistance during this pandemic, will lose that economic help once the schools reopen. That's you know, that's going to be catastrophic also for families. We cannot allow that to happen. So we want to make it clear, no matter what the district is saying, no matter what politicians are saying, you know, we call on parents to side with their instincts, to keep themselves safe and keep their children safe and keep your children at home. Do not send your kids to school, keep them at home. I want to introduce a parent today from Oakland, from East Oakland, that knows firsthand not just the struggle of having to deal with the threat of this deadly disease, but also of going through at this moment of hardship, of economic hardship during this pandemic as well. So I want to introduce Manuel and his daughter also Marina as well. I apologize because we have them on the phone speaker because we were having connection problems, but I just want to introduce them really quick. So Manuel si podía empezar a hablar y nada más lo tengo en speaker, so puede comenzar a hablar si gusta.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Manuel de Jesús Álvarez y yo no estoy de acuerdo pues que los niños vayan a estudiar, pues si falta tan poquito las clases para terminar el año escolar, pues que sigan mejor en línea, porque yo no estoy de acuerdo que mi hija se presente a estudiar así, porque no quiero que el día de mañana se me vaya a enfermar y a la hora yo no voy a hacer, no voy a saber qué puedo hacer por ella, porque a mí ya me pegó eso del coronavirus y yo me sentí muy mal, ya casi me moría por poquito y pierdo la vida. Ahora imagínense, un niño no tiene las defensas que uno de ya un poquito grande tiene.
My name is Manuel and I have a daughter in school in Oakland. And I disagree with the plan of reopening of the school district to send kids back to school, especially now when there is so little time left of the rest of the year. It makes no sense to be sending kids to school now. But I also know from firsthand, because I almost died of COVID-19, and I do not want I do not want my daughter to get COVID. And yes, I know that for me it was very hard and difficult. And if it's hard and difficult for an adult to be in that position, for children to get that level of sick, they won't survive. And so I don't think that kids should be going to school, and I will not be sending my daughter to school. Marina,
Sí,
¿quieres decir también lo que tú también piensas de la reapertura de las escuelas ahora que van a reabrir?
pues muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Marina. Pues como mi papá dice, él no está de acuerdo a que yo vaya a la escuela porque pues tengo familia y tengo primitos pequeños y no quiero pues ir a agarrar el mal y después venir a formarlos a ellos y perder a mi familia solo por volver a regresar a la escuela. Y pues mejor prefiero seguir estudiando por línea a no ir a la escuela porque, como dice mi papá, yo puedo agarrar el COVID y luego pues los infectados van a ser ellos, voy a ser yo, y pues como él dice, él no va a guiar qué hacer conmigo. Así que como los maestros dicen, si uno no va a la escuela pierde el año, pues prefiero perder el año a no ir a la escuela.
My name is Marina, and like my dad said, I also I'm against the reopening of the school, and like my dad said that he won't send me to school. And I have family, I have cousins that are very young that I do not want to go to school and catch the virus and bring it home to my family and put them in danger and risk their death. And even if the school is saying that children will lose the school year if they return to school, I would rather risk the school year and stay home than bring the virus home and put in danger my family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And also,
Art,
I'm so sorry, just really quick. The press is asking if Marina and Manuel, thank you so much for speaking. If you could turn on your camera just briefly, even just for a pic, like, so they can see your faces if you're able to. I know there was connection problems, great. And I know you already spoke, so thank you, but just if you have a chance. And for other speakers too after this, if you're able to turn on your camera, please do. Sorry.
Yeah, apologize. We have them on speaker because they were having trouble with the internet connecting.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
so our next speaker is Ashley Richardson, a parent of students in OUSD. Ashley?
Hi, my name is Ashley Richardson. I currently have 4 kids that attend schools here in Oakland. Um, I know for myself, I have health problems, but besides from that, I don't feel that it's safe enough for my children to return to school. If it's not safe enough for the teachers to return, um, without being vaccinated, it does not make sense why they would allow children and expect them to return unvaccinated. It makes no sense. It's selfish beyond selfish. Um, and it's concerning to me. It scares me. Um, it makes me very nervous. And I just wanted to say that as long as your kids are doing the classwork, showing up on time, and even if it's from a distance, as long as they're doing their work and showing up, they will finish the school year. So I just wanted to put that out there. So if there's any parents out there that are being told that that year won't be completed because they will continue distant learning, it's a lie. And it's a lie that you should not believe. If your kids are there, active, engaged, they will finish the school year, and their attendance will be fine. Everything will be fine. It's more dangerous to send them in person than to keep them at home. You know, they say that children are the ones less infected, but that's because they're at home. They're not out there. They're not out there to be next to people who have the virus. Um, like I said, I don't think it's fair that, you know, if teachers are not going back until they're vaccinated, I don't think that they should expect our children to go back unvaccinated. So for myself, I know that I will not be allowing my children to return back.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ashley. Next, we're having Adarine Hogue, who's also a EON BAM caucus member and a teacher, a special education teacher at East Oakland Pride Elementary. Adie?
Hi, yeah, I'm Adie Hogue. I teach at East Oakland Pride Elementary School, one of the schools in Oakland that had a very large percentage of parents saying that they wanted to remain in distance learning. And, you know, I want to thank Ashley as a parent from my school for speaking out and for speaking up for parents, because I think, you know, as we see infection rates go up in states around the country, as we see many parents in many large urban districts overwhelmingly choosing to keep their precious children home, the truth becomes more and more clear that the reason teachers are being forced back into the classroom with, you know, these bad deals are not because the families or the children want to come back, it's because they don't. And this is trying to create a situation which, you know, disenfranchises families from the distance learning that they want. Oakland has not said whether or not distance learning will be available to students by their own teachers who have worked with them this whole year. I am committed to maintaining distance learning for all of my students. I will not stop those services. I will not be forced into only offering students services in person. This is wrong. We need to get our communities vaccinated. It is wrong that we still have so many in the community that can't get vaccines, that are not on the priority list, construction workers that have been working this whole time who are not eligible, our city workers and you know, I just think this has to do more and more with companies and with some of the people in charge of this economy wanting to show people, wanting to show children, you deserve no reasonable expectation of safety. So be quiet, put on your mask, and get back to work, get back in those buildings. And we just have to say, no, we are not doing that. Your children do deserve the vaccine. They will get the vaccine. Hold them out. Do not go back to work until you have a right to it. Do not allow this unconscionable situation to continue in which the vast majority of people getting the vaccine are privileged, are white, are not even, and have a choice to stay home. This is wrong. We need to get our communities vaccinated. We need to make sure that there is no fear around getting vaccinated in our undocumented communities, that there is outreach, that there is not requirements that make that difficult. That should be our priority. That should be where the money is going. The Newsom may think that he can buy off teachers' unions and he can buy off some teachers with a bribe to get families to go to say that it's safe when people know it is not. I will not be bought off, and I know many teachers that will not be bought off. We demand safety for our students, safety for our families, increased vaccination. That's where the money should go. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Adi. And we're having someone else from press coming. It should be arriving now too. So I want to call in the next speaker. Next, we have Mari Cruz Lopez from BAM, and I'll let Mari introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Mari Cruz Lopez, and I'm going to first speak in Spanish. Hola, mi nombre es Mari Cruz López, soy organizadora con el Grupo para Derechos Civiles BAM. El nombre es la Coalición para Defender los derechos, la acción afirmativa, la integración y derechos de migrantes y luchar por la igualdad por cualquier medio necesario. Estamos haciendo una llamada de acción para que padres y familias no manden a sus hijos de regreso a la escuela y mantener a las escuelas cerradas y mantengan a sus hijos en casa y en aprendizaje en distancia. Nuestro nuevo movimiento de derechos civiles es la única fuerza en esta sociedad que tiene el poder de defender a la humanidad en esta pandemia de COVID y salvar innumerables vidas, incluidas las de los niños y sus familias aquí en Oakland. Nuestro movimiento tiene que tomar acciones masivas para proteger la vida humana. Hemos sido la fuerza progresiva en esta sociedad desde el movimiento original de derechos civiles. Nosotros hicimos manifestaciones históricas para derechos de inmigrantes en nuestras marchas masivas en el 2006. Ganamos la revocación de la ley represiva que el gobierno estaba tratando de aprobar en ese tiempo. Este verano pasado vimos el otro movimiento histórico en las marchas por la justicia para George Floyd y contra la persecución del asesinato de personas y las comunidades afroamericanas, latinas y pobres. Así como las comunidades afroamericanas y latinas salieron a votar y sacar a Trump de la presidencia, ahora nuestras comunidades también tienen que alzar la voz fuerte contra la reapertura de las escuelas. Mantengan a sus hijos y estudiantes en casa. Mantengan el aprendizaje en distancia. Luchemos por los beneficios y los recursos necesarios para que todas nuestras familias puedan quedarse en casa de manera segura con sus hijos y mantener las escuelas cerradas. No puede haber ninguna reapertura de escuelas hasta que haya una vacuna segura y efectiva para niños. Esta vacuna no estará disponible hasta el otoño o el próximo año. hasta que una vacuna segura para niños esté disponible y haya 0 casos de COVID en nuestras comunidades, el plan de reapertura de escuelas del distrito de Oakland tiene que ser derrotado. No manden sus hijos a las escuelas. Manténganos en casa en aprendizaje en distancia. Si no hay estudiantes en las escuelas para aprendizaje en persona, entonces el distrito tiene que cerrar las escuelas. La gente que apoya el plan de reapertura de sus escuelas, en su mayoría son gente blanca y rica, quienes tienen la opción de cambiar su decisión en cualquier momento y regresar al aprendizaje en distancia porque tienen el dinero y los recursos para hacerlo sin sufrir las consecuencias. No podemos dejar que su demanda de reapertura de escuelas sean las fuerzas sobre las comunidades afroamericanas y latinas de Oakland. Para los padres pobres, los más vulnerables y las familias afroamericanas y latinas, si cambian al aprendizaje en persona, se les negará la asistencia de beneficios por la pandemia. Las familias indocumentadas ni califican para esta asistencia. Por eso tenemos que luchar para que los beneficios sean disponibles para todos, incluyendo la gente indocumentada, y para mantener las escuelas cerradas y parar la propagación del coronavirus. Hay más variantes del coronavirus hoy día, desde que empezó la pandemia, y el variante del Reino Unido y de Brasil y de California, todos son más infecciosos y peligrosos que el variante original. En distritos que han reabrido las escuelas han visto casos de COVID aumentar en las escuelas y en sus comunidades. Nosotros podemos prevenir que esto pase aquí en Oakland si mantenemos las escuelas cerradas. No manden a sus hijos de regreso a la escuela. Manténganlos en casa para proteger a su familia y la comunidad. So my name is Maricruz Lopez. I'm an organizer with BAM, the Coalition to Defend Affirmative Action, Integration, Immigrant Rights, and Fight for Equality by Any Means Necessary. And we're issuing a call to action to all families in Oakland to do not send your children back to school. Keep your children at home and in distance learning. Our new civil rights movement is the only force in this society that has the power to defend humanity in this COVID pandemic and save countless lives, including those of children and their families here in Oakland. Our movement has to take mass action to protect human life. We have been the progressive force in this society since the original civil rights movement. We demonstrated for the rights of Latina, Latino, and immigrant communities in our mass marches, making history in 2006. We won the overturn of the repressive law and racist law that the government was trying to pass. We saw just this past summer, another historic moment in the marches for justice for George Floyd and against the police targeting and murder of those in the Black and Latino and poor communities. Just as the Black and Latino communities came out to vote and remove Trump from the presidency, now our communities also have to speak out loudly against the reopening of schools. Keep students at home, keep distance learning. Let's fight for the benefits and resources necessary so that all of our families can safely stay home with their children and keep schools closed. There can be no reopening of schools until there is a safe and effective vaccine for children. This vaccine will not be available until the fall or next year. Until a safe vaccine for children is available and there are 0 cases of COVID in our communities, the Oakland School District reopening plan has to be defeated. Don't send your children to school. Keep them at home in distance learning. If there are no students in the schools for in-person learning, then the district has to keep schools closed. The people who support the school reopening plans are mostly upper middle class and white. They have the option to change their decision at any time and return to distance learning because they have the money and resources to do so without suffering the consequences. We cannot allow their demand to reopen schools to be the forces on the Black and Latino communities of Oakland. For poor parents, the most vulnerable, and the Black and Latino families, if they switch to in-person learning, they will be denied benefit assistance due to the pandemic. Undocumented families do not even qualify for this assistance. That is why we have to fight to make the benefits available to everyone, including undocumented people, and to keep schools closed and stop the spread of COVID. There are now more variants of COVID-19 today since the pandemic began. The variant of the UK and of Brazil and California all are more infectious and dangerous than the original variant and can spread through children. In districts that have reopened their schools, they have seen COVID cases increase in schools and in the communities. We can prevent all of that from happening here in Oakland by keeping schools closed. Don't send your children back to school. Keep them home and protect your family and communities. Keep the schools closed.
Thank you so much, Mari. Okay, next, we're having Alexia, and Alexia, I'll let you introduce yourself. Alexia?
Yes, hi, thank you. Hi, my name is Alexia Maciel. I'm from Oakland, California. My son goes to La Escuelita since kinder. He has autism. He's in special education class. He has an IEP. And for him to understand all this is new and it's hard, but at the same time, he understands that it's the best decision for him to stay at home. So for me to hear that they're trying to send our kids back to school because it's time, I mean, I still don't get it. I think about it. I don't understand how can they say it's time either for you teachers to go back there when you have families. I have a lot of respect for our teachers and staff of schools. I understand it's the toughest job you can have. So at the same time, I don't get why sending back our kids when there's, like all these people say right now, there's no vaccine for them. We in my family, my husband, my son and I, we were infected with COVID in December. So our Christmas was here in the house by ourselves, one in each room. And it's really sad. It feels really bad. It hurts. The pain you get with COVID is like really bad. You can't imagine it. So for me to hear as a mom, like, oh, it's safe for our kids to come back to school. To be honest, when there's some days we don't have even toilet paper in the restroom, we don't have hand wash in our restrooms. Like, I hear all these things and I say, how can you play with the safety of our kids? How can you tell us in our face, it's okay, they can come back? But at the same time, they're not respecting you as teachers. They're not respecting staff as person who are working. So for me, it's no, I'm not sending my son. I told my son and I told my daughters who are in college, if you miss 1 year of college, 1 year of school, it's fine. Nothing happens. I prefer my kids in the house safe than going back to school and 2-3 weeks later, they will be in the hospital. And the saddest thing, they don't let you be with your family in the hospital. You're gonna leave your kids in the hospital by yourself. There's no, I mean, knock on wood, nothing happens to one of the childs that you have to say goodbye to them through a tablet. That's the saddest moment as a parent. It is more sad to hear some parents complaining, yeah, I need my kids to go back to school because I'm tired of them in the house. I don't know what to fit them. I don't know how to do. My house is no longer clean. That's the saddest part. And that's one of the things that we don't say in the meetings. Pretty much of this pushing to return back to school. Some is because of the economical part, but other part are some of the parents who are pushing, like, I need my kid in school. I'm tired of having him in the house. That's for me is the worst thing I can hear. So since the beginning, I said my son will not go to school. My daughters, I told them, this is new for everybody, even doctors. They don't even know how to fix all this. It's going worse and worse and worse. There's no ending. Yes, my husband and I already got vaccinated. And they even told us in the hospital when we got the vaccine, you have the vaccine, but you're not 100% secure. So wear your mask, wash your hands. If you go out and come back, take a shower as soon as you get back home. So for me to hear like, oh, You can make these runs and take your kids to school. It's gonna be not that crowded. It's gonna be only, I don't get how you're gonna teach it to a student 2 hours for 2 days. They're not gonna learn that much. So for me to tell me, if you wanna keep your son in the house, perfect. Why? Because I'm thinking in my safety. I'm 41 years old. I have diabetes. So for me to send my son to school and then come back and get sick, two things are gonna happen. Either I get back again sick or I die. So if you ask me, what do I decide? No, I prefer my son in the house. If he learns, he will learn if he wants to. He will learn. We can find a way, the same way we find how to use that technology for Facebook, for Instagram, TikTok. I mean, you can go around it and find a way how to help your kids. I don't agree with going back to the school because it's only lies. Schools are not safe. Teachers are not safe. You as teachers, you're not even getting vaccinated to go back to school. Staff members, they're not going to be vaccinated to go back to school. So how is it going to be safe for our kids? If you tell me a kindergarten, first grader, third grader is going to keep their mask and they're going to keep 6 feet separate, that's not true. We as adults, sometimes we forget to put that mask. We as adults, we forget to wash our hands. So how are you gonna tell me, oh no, they're gonna understand they cannot hug each other. They're gonna understand, count 6 if they're in kinder, they don't know how to count. So I don't wanna take too much of your time because I know there's too much people here and I wanna be respectful of the time from everybody. But for me, if you as teachers decide to know, we can teach. The only thing we as a parents ask the principals, the district, give us more supplies how to teach our kid in the house. Give us extra help. We understand, I understand, I always have, the teachers are people who have their own life too. I know we have to respect that time for you and the staff members. But if you give us the supplies, how to teach our kids, if you give us one day of the week, how to teach us parents, how to teach our kids and help their kids in school, trust me, we can work together. But at the same time, us as parents, we have to put a little effort. Like this is new for me as a mom. I was raised in Mexico. I don't know the way. The teaching from here is different from over there. But I know how to read. I know how to do math. So I can, if the same way I learn how to use Facebook, I can learn to how to teach my kid in the new era. So for me, I'm 100% with the teachers. I'm 100% with the real doctors who say it's not safe to go back. People, please keep wearing your mask. It's sad to see in other places, oh, you can take your mask off. We're 100% open. What's gonna happen? We're gonna go down again. And the saddest thing, I want life to be as normal, but if this is gonna be the new normal, then we have to take care of each other. Us as parents to our kids, but at the same time, we have to respect the teachers because all of you, I think maybe you're married and have families, have healthy issues. So at the same time, if you cannot take care of yourself, how can our kids are gonna be safe? Because I mean, we're going in circles on the same thing over and over again. Bottom line, I both know. Bottom line, if you tell me, keep your kid in the house, we'll help you. Thank you. That's all I need. He can stay in the house. Doesn't bother me if my house is never clean. If I have to cook 10 meals a day, it's fine. He's my son. And my advice to the other parents out there who can hear me, don't complain too much. This is new. We can help each other. We can make groups like to teach each other whatever we do not know of school. We can ask for support. I know there's teachers in my son's school who I can reach to. I know there's staff members who I can reach to. But I mean, I don't wanna go over other people's time. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alexia. I do want to announce that tomorrow EON BAM is holding a car caravan protest against reopening the schools and demanding vaccinations for all students before anyone returns to in-face, demanding vaccines for all of Oakland. We'll be starting in East Oakland where the vaccine rate is only half of what it is in the more wealthy white communities in Oakland. So I want to invite everyone 4 o'clock tomorrow, starting at East Oakland Pride Elementary School. And we'll go down to the school district headquarters at 1000 Broadway because there is a school board meeting tomorrow night, and we're going to speak out against this plan in the school board meeting. And I believe East Oakland Pride is at 8000 Birch. Is that true, 80? I want to make sure. Yes, 8000 Birch. Okay. So thank you. Thank you so much. Next we have Tanya Kapner, a high school teacher at Oakland Tech and EON BAM member.
Hi, yes, as the last speaker said, I really agree with the parent that we have to really fight for resources for distance learning. I'm Tanya Kapner with the Equal Opportunity Now by Any Means Necessary Teachers Caucus, and I'm a history teacher. And, we don't have to even look back to, the pandemic of 1918 to see that mass gatherings and mass settings bring back new surges of a virus, of a flu in that case. We don't even have to look back there. All we have to look at is this last year of the COVID pandemic. Every time that things were shut down more, we saved lives. Every time that things were prematurely reopened, more people have died. We are in higher community spread now than we were when the schools were closed down for safety. And I think this whole reopening of the Oakland schools is really just sick because it's really just putting profits over people's lives and children's lives. This is really just putting kids in crowded conditions in schools with no proper ventilation or anything to say, hey, the economy is open and the parents have to work. And this is not okay because we are proceeding with vaccinations. We can get children vaccines. We can get them safe. If the schools are reopened now and people are not able to continue with distance learning safe at home, then what that's going to mean, it's going to mean that more and more kids are in crowded, unsafe conditions, and that with the new mutations, we get a new wave of COVID. Whereas if we stay safe, all of us, teachers, students, parents, now for the rest of the school year, we get more and more months of vaccination, including the summer, and we can really do what's necessary to actually fix the schools. We need to stand together until there is low community spread. And we're still looking at purple and red, the highest tiers of spread in many different neighborhoods in Oakland. This is not okay. I'm standing with the original demand of the union that we should not go back until there is near zero spread and vaccines for the community as well as the teachers. To me, it's just blood money to tell teachers that you should go into a school and tell kids to come into a school when they are not safe. The schools are not safe. We should stay in distance learning. And I just want to say, again, we're in high spread. It is not safe. So, let's learn the lessons of the history of the COVID pandemic and let's stay safe and let's get our young people vaccinated and our parents vaccinated and let's only open the schools when it is safe. Right now, I am teaching all my students and I'm so happy to know they are alive and safe. I want that to continue. We should not be forcing young people or staff into schools. All the studies where there are high spread communities and schools reopen show COVID cases. And the school district isn't even providing COVID testing for students in what they said to us. This is unacceptable. We should stand together for lives in Oakland. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're saying here. No to the school reopening plan.
Thank you, Tanya. Okay, so there's a number of other folks here that I want to invite to talk. I don't know, Ms. Phillips, Naomi. I don't know if there's people I've missed. So this is the time if somebody wants to. Edwin. Okay, yes, Edwin, I see your hand. Do you want to speak?
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm gonna speak on behalf of my husband and I. I think it's not safe for the schools to
I'm sorry.
reopen.
Can you introduce yourself? I'm sorry. Can you just introduce yourself and?
Oh, yes. Francisco Diaz and my husband is Edwin Diaz. So I just wanted to say that it's not safe for the kids to go back to school. And for me, it's very uncomfortable that teachers are being offered this amount of money just to go back and talk to these families, to bring them in and tell them that it's safe when it's not safe. There is a tracker out there that is public that you guys can see. How accurate is that tracker of the safety plan of OUSD or the district by school site. I see this picture of the OEA president walking around campus. There's a checklist that they have. There's specific things that they're seeing. All their unions are doing the same thing, or they're just taking the picture just to make sure people and parents feel safe, just for a social media. Why is not a video outside, like outside, or like a live video that they can walk around campuses and check? I used to work in a school campus that we don't even have a heater on, rats all over the place. And all of the sudden right now, they have money to bring all this PPE. Now, all of the sudden they have hand sanitizer after so many years. Where's all this money coming from? They're doing all of this because money. And unfortunately, like in our country right now, they open the schools for the same reason, for money. And now they have, after 2 weeks of being open, they shut it down because the cases rate all the way up. It was worse than before in our country. So, and I see that there's a lack of communication, a lack of resources here in Oakland. A lot of immigrants' families are losing their job. Kids are being sent to Mexico during distance learning. They can still get the services from Oakland, but they're in Mexico and Salvador and different countries. Parents cannot afford to stay in Oakland or in the Bay Area. And OUSD is not doing anything about it. We're losing kids because this pandemic, I get it, but we're losing more kids because of safety. And I saw how many teachers vote yes. And it was only like 250 teachers who vote yes. They're willing to expose themselves. It's fine, let them. But what about the 700 and something teachers that they don't want to do that? Why they don't respect those people's votes as well? As well as clerical staff. We're having a meeting tomorrow. They're gonna put us in an insulation room. Why? Why ask? Just because we sit behind on a desk? Why ask? Because we care about the kids, because our heart is saying, and all of us, we're mothers that we care about the children, but at the same time, why we have to expose ourselves? Why we need to accept extra money just to go? Because you don't know if you're gonna die. So somebody said in the chat, 800 members vote no. So I think it's more than that. It's more than what OUSD has to do. And this pandemic actually bring a lot of things in the light right now that we're seeing that it has to be changed. A lot of things in OUSD has to be changed from the top to the bottom, not just because money. People who has experience talking about it. Most of the times when we're in the board meetings, you don't see pediatricians talking about it, science people talking about it. You just see board members who don't even respond to parents, who give you horrible comments. They don't support families. They just sit right there, look at the camera, and don't say anything. So I know there's parents over here. I know there's teachers over here, and I thank you so much for being here. And I know that all the teachers who are going back is because they love their profession and maybe they don't have families behind. And the teachers who vote no, the same thing. They love your children. They care about your children. And remember that people who work at the school site, they spend more time with your children than yourself. We spend 8 hours or more than that with your children. So I'm just saying that we know what they need. We know what is safe. And a lot of the teachers take money out of their pocket. Clerical staff take out of their own pocket to support and provide safety for their children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ms. Phillips, I see you're going to speak. So please, Ms. Phillips is a counselor at a school in Oakland. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alice Phillips. I'm a school counselor in Oakland. And I guess, I mean, everyone has said such amazing things. I guess my point would also be about safety. And I feel that until we are not having cases and deaths in our community, I don't see how gatherings makes any sense whatsoever, because it spreads the disease and it causes more variants the more the disease is spread. I am really concerned about this idea that teachers don't have a choice whether to work remotely or to continue to work remotely. The teachers were thrown in the deep end in March, because as we all were, with this disease, and the teachers rallied and figured out really rapidly how to teach, which is just an amazing thing. And the parents adjusted, the kids adjusted to the degree that we could. And I am just so impressed with what the teachers have done. So at this point, finally, the teachers, have a routine. The kids have a routine. Everyone has a routine how to learn. And the kids are learning. It's not like this is a wasted year. It's a difficult year, of course, but it's not a wasted year. They are learning. I go into the classrooms and I see them learning. So I really want to say, I don't see why this 6 weeks, throwing the 6 weeks into chaos all of a sudden, having the teachers, if they are on board to do this, to even have them have to split between the kids that are there and the kids that aren't there, and how much the kids are there, and all of this seems so confusing and so chaotic. And ultimately it isn't safe in any case. I also am concerned about the teachers who would like to work remotely, but don't have that option. We have teachers in our school who have partners who are pregnant, who have just all sorts of different situations. They have children at home who haven't returned to school, so they're having to take care of their kids and assist them in learning. And then they're supposed to be back in a building that is potentially very dangerous for them. We have teachers who have elderly in their home. We don't know, even with a doctor's note or even with this explanation of the elderly in your home, if that's going to mean that we still need a return anyway, part of the time or not. We don't know what the accommodations will be. As you can see, I'm old, right? I got white hair. And I'm really not a big fan of walking into a building where kids they're not even taking their temperatures or anything. And I mean, it just seems so senseless to me. At least if we could have the whole summer to sort of think this out a little, how it's going to happen. I want to wait till all the kids are vaccinated. Of course, I don't know if that will happen by then, but still to at least make a plan and not throw the end of the year into chaos when the teachers have already really worked hard to they have gone so above and beyond to work hard to serve the community and serve the students and the families. So I really, it is nonsensical. I think it's another one of these, I'm getting very tired of the profits before people kind of thinking, where, somehow some money reward comes first. And I can't think of any other reason for this to be happening, because it just doesn't make any sense to me to take the risk of more children getting sick, more adults getting sick, people going home to their families and spreading this horrible, horrible disease. So thanks for hearing me out.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Thank you. I do not see other hands. If anyone does want to raise their hand, please do so. Okay, so if press would like to ask questions, we can take some questions. Okay, seems like we're basically ready to wrap up. So thank you very much, everyone. I want to remind people, say once again, tomorrow, 4 o'clock in the afternoon at East Oakland Pride, we're going to do a car caravan protest against reopening face-to-face instruction. We'll go down to the school board meeting, 1000 Broadway, the building for the admin, and we'll do a press conference there also at approximately like 5:30, about 5:30. So we'll get out something on that, but invite everyone to come.